in my garage, which is below our house, this little basement garage in our house in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, telling God everything I hated about myself. And then the Holy Spirit interrupted that hate session, and he just began to speak in its still small voice, which absolutely will rock you to the core of who you are if you really encounter God. And he says to me, he says, Michael, you need to let me tell you what I think about you for once. And I'm like, all right, then. And so I'm ready to hear the most grandiose thing I've ever heard, potentially. I'm, on the yellow notepad of my life or my mind or whatever, I'm ready to write this down. And he says so clearly to me, he says, Michael, I like the way that you smile. And man, it was like he took a wrecking ball to this huge wall of self-hatred that I had built. Because I never doubted that God loved me, right? It's that I couldn't love me. But all of a sudden when he said, I like the way that you smile, I could see it. Like, that's the one thing in pictures that I did like. I liked that about me. And that was where he started. And I love that that's who God is. The King of the universe would be dealing in intimate details with me because he's the one who knit me together in my mother's womb. Isn't that incredible, man? That is just amazing to me that God would care about that, And then he just began to show me, he said, look, for you to think some way about yourself that I don't think, it's like telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. And that's never true, because a prerequisite of being God is that you know all the time. You know what I mean? You're right. Like if you say it, it becomes right, even if that previously was not the correct information.
Yeah.
That's who he is. And so he began to speak to me and said, when I look at you, I don't look at you, by your standards. He goes, I look at you and I see what Jesus has done for you applied to your life. So he sees the perfection of Christ applied to my life. And that was the day that little idea began. I am redeemed, and turned into that song later with my friend Benji Cowart when we wrote together.